Hello, I'm the Epidemic, and today I will be playing with myself a game of Mythos, the card game. Just a heads up, this is not a tutorial. This video was designed with the intention of playing a game and assuming that you already know how to play. So with that being said, I'm going to be living in the past, and I hope you will join me. Let's get started. Okay, so our first player is going to be using the unacknowledged author today. He knows English and Latin, has a beginning sanity of 13, maxes out at 20. He has an education of 15. His hand is 13 cards, 4 minimum, 6 maximum. He has a special ability that affects him while he is in the Dreamlands, although I doubt he will be using it today. He uses only 2 adventures to make up the 20 points of his story deck. The big Dunwich Horror 15-point adventure is his primary objective, and once he gets that completed, he will attempt to complete Seeking Everlasting Life Part 1. His opponent today is the obsessed FBI agent in a Mego brain case. He knows only English, has a beginning sanity of 12, maxes out at 15. 14 is his education. His hand size is 12 cards, which is uncommon. He has a minimum of 3, maximum of 6. He has a few special abilities, though. He may use a country gate to play Mego as allies, and automatically survives in space. The agent has 3 adventures in order to get 20 adventure points this game. First is the Meow Ceremony, which focuses on the Cats of Ulthar. Second is Doomed If You Do, an adventure based around the destruction of the town of Manar. And third, the Interesting Shop, which is suited to decks based around cities. As the obsessed agent has the lowest sanity, he will play first by arriving at the Nameless Lake in Manar. The Nameless Lake will gain or lower his sanity based on the top card of all opponents' Mythos decks. In this case, there is neither a gain nor a loss. The author will start off by arriving at Sentinel Hill in Dunwich Country. He will take a sanity loss. While at the Nameless Lake, the agent encounters a ghost being of Ib. Plays it as an ally. Though tomes are not normally found at Sentinel Hill, the author discovers a secret cache which allows him to discover a Latin Necronomicon. It costs him 3 sanity, but allows him to have a 14th card in his hand at the start of every turn. The agent uses the gate at the Nameless Lake to begin a Mythos threat. At this time, he plays a Cat from Saturn, costing him 1 sanity. The Cat from Saturn will bypass all Mythos threats from all opponents. As Sentinel Hill is a country location, the author runs into Squire Watley, who joins as an ally. The obsessed agent decides to travel. The author also decides to travel. However, he has a car that allows him to get from country location to country location more quickly. He arrives at Osborne's general store and gains a sanity. Having had no transportation to his destination, the agent finally arrives at the ruins of Ib. Because the author needs to hit several different locations in Dunwich for his adventure, he decides to go on a sightseeing tour, taking yet another car to the Bishop's Brook Bridge. The obsessed agent decides to use one of his special rules and uses a country gate to summon Amigo as an ally. The author decides to continue his sightseeing on foot. The agent decides to play the stars are right. He might be up to something. The unacknowledged author has arrived at the Seth Bishop ruins. The obsessed agent decides to make the first pass of the round. The author continues to travel, this time to Arkham. The agent makes the second consecutive pass of the round and directs his threat to the author. Not knowing the threat that awaits him, the author sends Squire Whatley to defend. The cat from Saturn is revealed. His 3 strength overpowers Squire Whatley's 2, and 1 damage goes through to the unacknowledged author, costing him sanity. The round concludes with the author at 10 sanity and the agent at 11. The author arrives at the Miskatonic University Commons. The agent plays a hurricane. It's a storm event that prevents travel by sea and travel by air. While at Miskatonic University, the author is joined by Professor Henry Armitage as an ally. The agent, being at a ruins location during a storm, has met the conditions to summon the Bachrug, a great old one. While the Bachrug is in play, no investigator may gain sanity unless they are in Manar, and all locations feature the water attribute. The author comes across Professor Albert Wilmarth and makes an ally out of him. Having successfully shut down the author's ability to gain sanity for a few turns, the agent begins to travel. The author travels to Miskatonic's Memorial Hall hoping to gain sanity, however, is shut down by the Bachrug. The agent arrives at the marketplace in Ulthar. The author finishes up his stay at Miskatonic University and hops a car out to the Whatley homestead in Dunwich Country. The agent finally runs into the Cat Chieftain, making him an ally. He would normally gain sanity, however, because of the Bachrug and the fact that he's in Ulthar now, he cannot gain sanity. The author runs into none other than Old Man Whatley at the Whatley farmhouse. Old Man Whatley is able to know a spell upon being played, and in this case, he currently knows the Resurrection spell. The obsessed agent travels to the hovel of the cat haters. The unacknowledged author decides that this is the time for the obsessed agent to develop portophobia. While in the hovel of the cat haters, the agent discovers the papyrus of Ilarnek and is able to discern its secrets with the help of his Migo ally and the ghost being of Ib. He loses sanity after hearing the terrifying revelations. Additionally, because of the gate in this location, he loses more sanity. The author appears to have played out his hand and decides to pass. The agent loses more sanity due to portophobia and decides to use the gate here to summon Mythos Threat, a being of Ib. The author passes again and conscripts his allies to defend him from the oncoming threat. The being of Ib is revealed. At only a strength 1, he decides to sacrifice Professor Henry Armitage in his defense. The author has 9 sanity, and the agent has 7. The agent is still having trouble dealing with portophobia, so he makes a beeline for the White Whale Inn, a place that he can cure himself of this madness. The author begins round 3 at the Watley farmstead. He runs into Lavinia Watley, one of the homeliest of temptresses. He does make her an ally. The agent decides to spend his turn spinning yarns at the White Whale Inn. In doing so, he rids himself of portophobia's effects. The author plays Full Moon, making it nighttime. The agent plays the spell Petition of Menez on the papyrus of Ilarnek. Not to be outdone, the author reads his Necronomicon and discovers the Vula ritual. The agent has had enough and decides to pass. The author decides to travel. The agent passes and ends the round. There is no combat at this time. With the Cat Chieftain as an ally, the agent is able to use the Cats of Ulthar to travel to the far side of the moon. With the Balkrog gone at the end of last round, he is free to gain sanity again. Because the obsessed agent is an Amigo brain case, he is able to survive the effects of space. This makes it safe for him to hang out at the far side of the moon. The author arrives at the old mill ruins. Finally, the agent is able to play the Meow Ceremony, the 7-point adventure that gains him 2 sanity after successfully playing the Cats of Ulthar, the Marketplace, the White Whale Inn, Cat from Saturn, the Cat Chieftain, the Hovel of the Cat Haters, and Petition of Menez. The author uses the gate to summon the son of Yog-Sothoth to his Mythos threat, costing him 2 sanity. The agent is fortunate to find the Zenigavafarat at the far side of the moon. It's extremely rare and can only be found at exotic locations. Additionally, it's valuable because it helps him play adventures more easily. Looks like the whole family was home. Wilbur Watley joins the party. The agent passes for the first time this round. The author finds a .32 revolver and gives it to Professor Wilmarth. He gains a sanity as a consequence. The agent passes a second time, ending the round. He declares that the ghost being of Ib and his Mi-Go ally will defend him against the oncoming threat. As it turns out, the son of Yog-Sothoth is invisible, and neither the ghost being of Ib nor the Mi-Go ally can defend against it. The agent takes 4 sanity loss. At 2 sanity, the agent is on the ropes. He uses the Cats of Ulthar to travel, gaining some sanity. The agent has returned to the ruins of Ib. The author successfully scores the 15-point Dunwich Horror by playing 2 Miskatonic University locations, a travel by land card, 3 Dunwich locations, and then Sentinel Hill on top of that, Henry Armitage and another professor, Lavinia Watley, Old Man Watley, Wilbur Watley, the son of Yog-Sothoth, the Full Moon, the Necronomicon, and the Vula Ritual. The agent uses the Cats of Ulthar in an effort to get around Manar more quickly. He travels to the ruins of Sarnath. The author plays Zachariah Watley as an ally. The agent uses the gate to play Mi-Go to his Mythos threat. The author successfully scores Seeking Everlasting Life Part 1 by playing 2 Steadfast allies, 1 Corrupt ally, 1 Tome with a skull icon, and the Resurrection spell. He has 20 adventure points, and then wins the game. So in a little bit of post-game analysis, you can see that neither of these decks are particularly aggressive. Both rely heavily on travel in order to get their adventures completed, which is the downfall in this particular case, and I use that word very specifically, of the Dreamlands deck. At the start of the game, he was able to complete Doomed If You Do, but could not find that adventure card. So once he was able to complete the Meow Ceremony, he did that, but at the cost of resetting the story deck and having to recomplete the Doomed If You Do adventure. Those are the breaks when you play decks that you can go either or, whereas the Dunwich Horror deck, you must complete the Dunwich Horror, get the 15 points, and then depending on how aggressive your opponent was, you may or may not have all the cards you need to immediately play Seeking Everlasting Life. For Mythos experts, you may notice that there were 2 grave errors in the game, however, neither of them changed the final outcome. I'm speaking specifically of the Backrog was played when the gate was already used, and I got caught up in that I had the 2 requirements to play the Backrog. I forgot that the gate must also be used. So technically that wasn't a legal play. Additionally, you may have noticed that when I played Full Moon later that round, or maybe it was in a subsequent round, I removed Hurricane, because normally storm events get buried when day or night events are played. However, in this case, the Backrog protected the Hurricane, keeping the Hurricane in play. But since the Dunwich Horror does not rely on sea or air travel, it did not negatively impact the game. So thank you for joining me in this little adventure of posterity. At least now 1 game of Mythos will exist for all time on the internet. I am the Epidemic, living in the past, and you can too.